Hello, brothers and sisters. I love you guys. In the last lesson, it was titled, He Who. You know, it was referring to what comes to mind when you hear the name Christ. Who is He to you? But in that, I talked about a song, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Songs. And in that lesson, I mentioned how a song is a testimony. And we need to help each other build our songs. And we need to build our song. A song is a testimony. A lot of people were raised to believe in Christ. They were raised in churches, but they were leaning on someone else's evidence of God. A lot of people grow up and they realize, I don't have my own experience with God or my own evidence of God. And sometimes people switch their faith and switch their beliefs because they didn't become attached to God through experience. And that's what we want to do. We want to help each other build the experience. So a song, in one sense, can be a testimony of God. And we see David with a lot of songs where he's singing, testifying of what God has done for him. God has destroyed my enemies. God has restored me to health. God has made provision for me. He said the kings of the earth shall praise God when they see the words of his mouth. So God kept him with a testimony. God kept him with a fresh experience to where he was always able to sing a song. But he is not the only one. Moses also sung a song. When God delivered the children of Israel out of the hands of Pharaoh and he delivered them, Moses sung a song. And the song was just that, a testimony. And it's in Exodus 15, and I'm going to read some of the song. I don't know if I'm going to read the whole song. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he had triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider had he thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength and song, and he is become my salvation. He is my God. I will prepare him an habitation, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is mine. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his hosts had he cast into the sea. His chosen captains also are drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them. They sank into the bottom as a stone. Thy right hand, O Lord, is become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, had dashed in pieces the enemy. So as you go on in Exodus 15, you could continue to hear him sing the song, but the song was built upon the experience. It was built upon the fact that they were captives in a strange land with strangers, and God had removed them from that land and placed them in a freedom. And as Pharaoh said, I'm going to go back and make them captive again. He chased them into the Red Sea, where God parted the sea for the nation of Israel to go through. And they mentioned that also later on in that song, and how he covered the sea back up over them, which he mentions continuously throughout the song. But see, that song was something that they was connected to. It was something that God was able to bring back up and say, remember when I done this for you? Because God was always present in the lives of his people. They constantly went through different conflicts and different situations and had different battles and different enemies rise up against them, but God was able to help them to prevail, always adding to their song. So when it comes to a song like this, God's people should be getting ready to prepare for another song of deliverance as in the days of Moses. We should. God told us that we will be waiting on a new song in this sense, a testimony of God's power prevailing on behalf of his people, in behalf of those who follow Christ in this generation, as it was just a bloodline in the previous generation. But we are the generation of Christ. So I want to go to Jeremiah, because in a couple of times Jeremiah, God was going to refer to his people waiting on another song. So I'm gonna go to Jeremiah 16 for a second. So I'm gonna start at 13. It says, "Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there shall ye serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, which brought up and led the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt." They disconnected from that song. Their song and their testimony and that experience of God's power prevailing on their behalf, they're going to become disconnected from it. But not only are they going to become disconnected for it, they're going to become in wait for a new song. Because in verse 15 of Jeremiah 16, it say, "But the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers." Not only does it mention it in Jeremiah 16, but if you go to Jeremiah 23, we will see it mentioned over again. So when God reiterates something over and over again, it lets you know that this is something serious. This is something that we as God's children should be waiting on. We should be waiting on a new song from the Lord. So it says, starting at 7, "Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt." There we go again, disconnected from that song. But verse 8 says, "But the Lord liveth, which brought up and led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land." So this is another example of us waiting on a new song and a new testimony and a new declaration of God's power on behalf of those who follow him. So that's a beautiful thing that God has showed me regarding a song. But he just had been opening up my mind more and more. When God is trying to reveal something to me, he closes it in all around me. It's like he adds to what he's giving me everywhere that I look. And another purpose for a song is to send a message back and forth from one place to another. How you doing, Terrell? That's another reason for a song. See, and growing up in school, learning about Black history, we heard how they had songs that they would sing to send messages from one place to another. And without being able to be in another place far away, that song would carry and end up in another place. Therefore, letting the people who started the song and the people who received the song in another place to be on one page with each other. And that's another reason for a song. And God had given me evidence of this recently. And after this video, I'm going to play a few songs that reflect that. Because we are having experiences in the earth, even though we might not have the song collectively of God giving us deliverance collectively at the moment. Sometimes we crying out to each other, telling each other to assemble ourselves, to get it together. right? That's another reason for a song. It's to say, hey, this is what we're going through over here, and I can say, hey, I'm connected to what you're going through over there, over here, and it's a way for us to communicate with each other. And a beautiful thing about that is God's hand moving. It shows you how He is opening it up for us to be able to communicate and send those messages with each other. See, it was a point of time during the time of Nimrod where God has separated the languages. Everybody spoke one language, and God separated the language because the purpose for them being in one language, trying to rebel against God and to build a tower to heaven against God. So this is the reason why God broke up the languages and separated people from one place to another. But if you look at the times, we watching God put us back together in one language. I'm in English. I'm able to communicate with people from here to Africa, Indonesia, Pakistan, all of these people around the world. God is starting to bring it back to where we could communicate with each other, because you will find that we can communicate with each other through an English language, a language that people said was hard to learn. It had too many rules. We're starting to learn people all over the world can speak this language. Now somebody in Africa could make a song with English in it. Sending a message to me. And God showed me this. He showed me this. And he showed me another reason for a song. See, in the Bible, it talks about sounding a trumpet. A trumpet is an alarm. God was sounding an alarm to try to get the people to know that they need something serious is on the way, and they needed to get it together. Right? So in those days, he could declare a word through the prophet to get them to get it under control. But in this day and time, God is going to sound a trumpet on a much bigger scale. And one thing I learned, a song is perfect to make a trumpet on a much bigger scale. Because look, if you look at it, you have churches around the corner from churches and down the street from churches and next door to churches where they don't even know each other. They don't even communicate with each other. But if you go and visit these different churches on the same street and next to each other and around the corner from each other, what you will find is, if you visit them enough, that a lot of them sing the same songs inside of the service, because a song travels faster than just what the word of the preacher does in this day and time. So if God want to send a message around the whole world, it'll be easier for him to do it through a song. And he has showed me that recently. So I want to go to Colossians if I could get to it quick enough. I'm in Colossians. I want to go to Colossians, I believe, chapter 3, or maybe chapter 2. Let me see. Chapter 3. Because God is going to tell us that he wants something. It says, let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. Colossians 3:16. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing or correcting one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. See, God had already put it in his word, because one thing about it is a song could do a lot. He say, look, when you do it, teach each other through the songs that you sing. Correct each other through the songs that you sing, through the hymns and through the spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. So look at what it's telling us to do. See, I had recently did a message where I mentioned how I was at taking down an event for Porsche at South by Southwest. And I'm thinking that South by Southwest is over, but it's still going on. The corporate part is ending. So since the corporate part is ending, and God has sent me out there so I could see what the people are doing in the world against him. Right. But I end up talking to some people. I talked to an artist. I seen a woman in the window with a guitar, and some say, just let's go see what she gonna do with this guitar. And when I went in there, what I heard was something that God specifically took me, because he wanted me to hear, because he wanted me to understand the power of a song. See, the first song was not even in English. I was like, can you understand this? I can't understand it. But all of the songs were not in her native African language. Some of the songs had English in it. And she had a song that was made about, that she made when 34 miners, not young people, but people, platinum miners, were killed trying to get a raise. And they killed 34 of them, and it caused her creators to make a song. And the song has so much ministry in it. The first thing that God was saying is, this is a trumpet. This is a trumpet, because it was so much ministry in it. And what she was saying was important, and it was something that we deal with over here in America. I want to play that song, and I'm gonna play a few more songs. I'm not gonna attach it to this lesson because I don't own the rights to the music, but I want you to see the beauty of how the messages that people are trying to send to one another, because they were trying to tell us to assemble ourselves. And she say 4,000 rounds of bullets, 4,000 rounds of bullets ready to break black bodies again. And she say four vulturous mortuary vans, and whose hands are full of blood, violence. And she was saying, Beto Pile, which means people first, people first. She say contradictions fill the skies. Beto Pile, they vow. That's the government. The government always comes saying, people first, people first. We got your interest at heart, your interest in mind. And this is what they come to feed us. She say, but the big belly politicians upset about how you're going to be remembered. She say, the street calls out the fame, your fame. She say, but misuse freedom songs with your names. And the chorus goes like this. She say, and your blood trickles down, drains sometimes in vain for nothing. And the chorus goes like this. She say, the kush of your youth. And I'm thinking the kush of your youth, the only thing I could think about is Cush in the Bible, the father of Nimrod. So what did Cush represent? She say the Cush of our youth. And to me, it represents a rebellion. She's saying the rebellion of our youth is blood, guns, and revolutions. Because that's what they taught us. They taught us that this is how we get to freedom. We focus on the blood of ours being shed. We focus on the violence, guns, violence. We breathe violence, and we think revolutions to overtake something by force. That's our mind. They say the only way we're going to come out of this to take it by force. And that's not the way of God. That's not the way God had provided for us to do it. So when we find people trying to take it by force, we'll call those heroes, and we'll put their names in freedom songs, leading the younger people to believe that this rebellion is the way to take back a freedom that we don't have. So this is what she's saying. She's saying, look, she say, the kush of your youth is blood, guns, and revolution. She say, we put our guns in the earth, bullets in the earth, but we have tear gas in our heart. She said the kush of our youth is blood, guns, and revolutions. She said we put our fist in the earth, but we got tear gas in our heart, letting us know. She was telling us that the real problem is the tear gas in our heart. We got a problem inside of our heart, even though things are being set up on the outside of us to be obstacles, our way through and our way over and our way to prevail. Our situation is to get the tear gas out of our heart. Because even when we encounter each other, the first thing we do is we look at each other ugly. Yeah. Who is that? What do you want? You better go on. All of these type of interactions when we deal with each other, because we don't even have a heart for each other. And God told us to not only have a heart for each other, but have a heart for those outside of us, a heart for the enemy, a heart for the one who is doing us wrong. Bless those who curse you, and treat those who despitefully use you. Pray for those who do evil against you. God's telling us to the only way to prevail over our situation is through our situation, because he had something that he wanted us to teach the world and to deliver the world. But by being stubborn hearted and bullheaded and hard hearted towards his will, that he had to put us in a hole that only obedience to him could get us out of. But we steady trying to come up with other methods of getting out of it and teach people that this way will work, but it's only to fail if it's not following. It's only going to fail if it's not following the ways of, in the footsteps that God had left for us. So she is making this song and she telling us that we got this tear gas in our hearts, and that's what's wrong with us. We got to get it out of our hearts to where we breathe love, because love is our way out through the situation. Because somebody could say, hey, you can't be friends with them. Look at how violent they are with each other. Look at how sexual they are. They sleep with each other's wives and they take each other's wives. And why wouldn't they be afraid to befriend us? Because I don't know man want his wife taken. Don't know man want to be stolen from and robbed and killed and all of these things. But when we exercise our voice as if these are the things that we glorify, why wouldn't we look like monsters? So God is saying, show them a different side, to where they kids say, I didn't have that experience with him. I didn't have that experience with him. What you said, that don't fit. But we're not going to give that perception when we steady feeding into the perception that makes us look like monsters. So the only way out of it is through it. She say your solution is to get the tear gas out of your heart. She say she say the stories. She say the museums are filled with the stories of our Erie Water heroic deeds. You say in the wheel of our martyrs falls heavy on our wheels. She was saying something is trying to pull us to something good, but we steady fighting back. And what she was trying to say is that we need to get it together. She was sending a message. She got a native language and a people that she could sing to in a native language, but she learned the English language to be able to relate that to us and to be able to get us to assemble ourselves, because we are going through the same predicament in this place and on the other side of the world at the same time. She's saying we ain't gonna get out of ours if you start to get out of yours, and you can't get out of yours unless we start to get out of ours, because we both need to stand in a place to where the power of God show up to give us a song. So that song was important in itself. It was almost like a trumpet, and I just had this feeling that it was a trumpet. But one night I was watching a video, and at the end of the video, I could see a trumpet. I could see a trumpet flash, and I knew that this was a warning trying to tell us to get it together, trying to tell us that they having the same experience that we having, trying to tell us to lend our heart to them, and that they are lending their heart to us, that they feeling what we going through from way over here. And when we get together and sing this type of song, it's like standing in a type of place where the children of Israel was standing when he sent Moses to say, hey, tell my people I have heard the cries of my people, because I heard other songs. It's a group called the Brothers and Sisters Arts Program, and they had a song called Save My Soul, and the song was so powerful, but it wasn't a song of deliverance. It was a song asking for the deliverance. They were saying, Lord, save my soul. Save me from all the pains and sorrow. It's more than I could take. And that song almost bring you to tears. But I could see us over here in America going through the devastation of singing the same song, because we in the same place. Now, we having so much going on in our lives that we have to try to deal with pain and act like we don't have any pain at the same time. And it's gonna crash. It's gonna bring us to this devastating point, because you have people that are losing valuable people in their lives in violent and wrong ways to wrongdoing. And at the same time, they still have to play it off like life is normal. You have to act like you're still stunned. You got to act like you still got the money. You're still having fun, like you're still on these trips, but you're dealing with pain that you haven't got out of and you can't get over. And we're trying to cover up the pain with all of these false images of happiness and a peace that we think we have, but we leading people to a place to where we can't do nothing, be broken. We got people losing their brothers, people losing their sons, people losing their kids, people losing their brothers, their sisters, their mamas, their daddies. We losing and we losing them in the wrong ways, and we losing them to foolishness and in ways that we don't want to be able to carry their name and tell a story to their kids. We gotta alter the situation to make them look like more of heroes to their children rather than tell them the real story attached to them. We in the same place to be crying the same song if we just be real with ourselves and quit covering up the pain with new experiences that bringing new pain into our lives until we in broken places of our lives, drowning out our issues to outlets that are pulling us deeper into holes. And if we really looked at the situation for what it is, we in a place to be singing the same song. But when we assemble ourselves and get with the word of God to start to stand and say, okay, God, we're going to stand where you tell us to stand, and we're going to sing this song to you until you respond to us and give us a new song of joy and mirror. And I can't even understand all the words to the song, but it's so powerful because they say it's more than I could take. Let the sun shine. And I don't know exactly what they say after that, but they say they just want to be happy again. They praying and asking for God to show up with a new song. And we ought to be getting in position to be able to sing the same song with them. And that's not only them, but these are people in every position as a Christian under the sun. If you belong to God under the sun, because he say the experience that I had in the world is the experience you're going to have in the world. It is enough for a student to be as his master. So if his experience wasn't peaches and cream out here, then our experience is not peaches and cream out here. But we have what we need to prevail and to have peace in the midst of whatever he could send our way. If we could just assemble ourselves to sing the same song together, God will do something like he did for them. He said, I heard the cries of my people. It's people all over the world, because when you belong to God, this is the song that you have to sing. He said, I give you peace, but in the world you will have tribulation. When you're dealing out in the world, your experience in the world is tribulation. People are not being who God is telling you to be to them back to you, and your experience is not the same. But when God's people assemble themselves and get in a position to where he acknowledged them, it don't matter what race or what color you are, because people going to cast you away from their company when righteousness is what's on your heart, because they so used to trying to push what is foolish, the ways of the world. That's what they trying to push to us. If we could just get in position for God to give us another song. But sometimes we got to sing songs to each other before we get to that, teaching and admonishing one another, like it say in Colossians 3:16. He say, teaching and admonishing, correcting one another with these hymns and songs and spiritual songs. That's a mission of God. That's a mission of God. And he is assembling us back together, because he separated the languages because they were building a tower of Babel to prevail against God, to rebel against God. But God is putting it back together under one language for the sake of the gospel and for the mission of the kingdom of God. So it's a purpose in it. When will we serve the purpose? Because these people are sending effective messages out to try to reach out to us with meaning and purpose in it. What song are we sending out? Are we sending out the song that got the world acting foolishly? Because people are listening to our song. People are listening to the words and the lyrics. We are influencing what we speak. Sometimes we bring the whoredom to the world. We the reason why they dressing in provocative ways overseas, where they used to cover their body that was meant for the person that they were dedicated to. We the reason that they looking and acting like us and divorcing and getting out of one marriage and into another marriage, because we sending it out through our song. We sending out all of the rape, all of the murder, all of the killing, all of the stealing through our music, and they following us. When we going to send out another song, a song of encouragement, encouraging them like they encouraging us? Letting us know that, hey, you're not the only one going through what you're going through. We over here going through it with you. They telling us to stand together, become one heart, one soul, one mind. It's another song called Fall Down Bumbalee by the children's arts program. And this song, they trying to tell us to assemble together, because we having these harsh experiences and the government is no help to us. We steady trying to find out, who do we elect to give us a peace? Who do we elect to give us a security? Who do we elect to give us this? And these people ain't got nothing to do with what God was trying to assemble. He was wanting us to provide another option to the world, but we steady trying to find out how to make the right option in the world. And that's not right, because guess what? what? These people ain't coming for help. The Bible says when you sit at the table with rulers, don't desire nothing on the table. Why? He say, put a knife to your throat if you a man given to appetite. Why would God give us that type of advice? Because he telling you that these are deceitful meats. They come to you saying, we can help you, we can help you. Take this help, take this help. But when you take the help, they giving you restrictions and all of these guidelines and put you in this box and have you bound to a contract by them. He's saying you don't need the help. He say rely on me for help. You're looking for help out of the world. I'm telling you, step out of the world and find me so you can lead people out of the world to me. He got a system in the way that he wanted orchestrated to run, but we don't want to be a part of the system to see it work. But there is a people that's going to be a part of the system to make it work. And these voices are starting to rise all over the world. It's not linked to a blood and to a flesh. It's linked to our experience on earth as a creation of God, as man, the creation made in his image that had fallen and need knowledge to help him back into the light, into the future, into the word, into the promise that's left for us. Oh, I love you guys, man. And like I said, after this message, I'm gonna go and play these few songs. I want you to understand because look, man, I was praying for God to help me to understand tongues. And I'm thinking I'm gonna start understanding what these people do at church, but I'm starting to understand different languages. He took me to the concert where I heard an African girl singing, but the words in English drew me into the words that I couldn't understand. So in the song, it's probably be the one I played last. It's called Blood, Guns, and Revolution. The first thing she says is Beto Pile, and that's the government saying people first, people first. But after each verse, she started to say, Baliga Mama. That means escape. She say we got tear gas in our heart, and she's saying, escape, Mama. Escape that situation. Escape that wickedness in your heart. She say, Baliga Baba. That means escape, Father. Escape the situation. In the first song I'm gonna play, which is Lord Save Our Souls. I don't know what she's saying in African, but she gets to a place to where she's saying Bambalele. That means to hold fast, to hold on. That's encouragement. She's saying just hold on. And in the other song, you can hear them say the same thing. You hear them say Bambalele, which means to hold on, hold on. You start to hear her say Adani, which is master. She depending on God, and then you hear him say, what else? You hear him say something else, and all of this stuff is really just crying out to God and talking to us. They trying to encourage us from the other side of the world. Say, hold on. Man, that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, man. If I hear some of the words that you ain't able to say, I'll try to make it to where I'll let you know what that says. But I'm going to go ahead and end this live, man. I love you guys, man. I'll talk to you soon.